Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 219. I am just leaving the house right now. It is very dark outside. I'm not positive, but I think it's a cloudy day. The sun is just barely starting to peek up, and we're off for our Friday trip. Today I want to stress blackjack the most. I want to try to get 4 good sessions of blackjack in, hopefully an hour or longer each, and really try to make that blackjack EV. We're going to be visiting one casino before we play blackjack. I'm allowed to play blackjack there. I shy away from it. So I doubt that I'll play it. Plus, I doubt that there are going to be any decent tables open before 9 o'clock in the morning. Really, this place is now based on a lot of free bet and a lot of carnival games, and they pride themselves on having $5 carnival game tables. Now, what I really should do too, especially on a day where I'm not busy, is walk through and look at their carnival games and see where the card shufflers are in comparison to where everything is on the table. So some of you may be new and probably haven't listened to Gambling with an Edge very much. It's been gone for over a year now, I think. But one thing that you can do to make money is hole carding. And that includes a lot of carnival games, especially 3-card, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, games like that, where having insight on one or more cards that the dealer may have would make a big edge for you. And depending on where the card shuffler is and where the rack is, sometimes the dealer has to lift the card up over the rack in order to get to the table, to the players. And by doing that, most times dealers don't move the cards flat with the table. They do it at an angle, and there's a possibility that you could see that bottom card. Now, in a game like 3-card poker, that's a huge edge. Just doing that and not even looking at your hand could be profitable. So that's one thing that I could do, is look at those games and see where everything is. Recently, a lot of the better casinos have tightened up on that and fixed that. I was at a casino yesterday, and I mentioned this one before, where the Ultimate Texas Hold'em spread between min and max is so low, it makes no sense. You should just have a mandatory amount because it's so low. The minimum on the table is $15, and the maximum on the table is $25. So you can't even double your bet. So that's pretty pathetic. Anyway, so I'll be stopping at that casino first. After that, I'll be stopping at another casino where I should be able to get 1 or 2 sessions of blackjack in, and then go to a third casino where I should just be able to hopefully just play 1 table there and just sit there for 2 hours if I can, and just almost flat bet the table and hopefully make some money. As far as slots today, the first casino, I should make maybe $50 to $100 off slots there. Second casino, although there's a lot of blackjack opportunity, there's a lot of hustlers there, so probably not too much opportunity. And the third casino, maybe $50 or $100 on slots. And then, depending on time, we may do another casino in that area, probably doubtful, and then at least 1 casino on the way home as well. So that's the schedule for today. That's the plan for today. Last night I worked hard on my office work, and I think I made some decent headway on that. I do have a lot to do still. I'll work on that a lot this weekend and fine-tune some things, and that's really it. I'm waiting for my teammates to help me with a couple things for the office, and yeah, that's what's up. So right now, as the sun is starting to come up a little bit more, I'm seeing that it is mostly cloudy today, 45 degrees outside, and I'll be back to update you soon. Alright guys, still driving, but the sun's just coming up now, and sunrise, and I look over, it's starting to rain, and there is a rainbow off in the distance in the dark. So it's like you can't see the colors of the rainbow, but you can see the rainbow. I took a little video. I'll post it in the next day or so on YouTube, but it's pretty cool. Never seen a rainbow while it was dark. You look to the right and you see the sun rising. You look to the left, it's still dark, and there's a rainbow there, so pretty cool. Continuing on here, it's raining, and I'm still a long way away from my first stop, so I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. Unfortunately, something has come up. I did go in there, looked around, found only one play, and I played that through. I was there for about 25 minutes or so, and ended up ahead $83. So that's not the big news. The big news is, as I continued my drive, I'm now about 10 miles away from my next casino, and I had just forgotten to record this, but I'm about 10 miles away. I got a Teams message, "Hey Joe, do you mind joining this meeting?" And they sent me an invite to a meeting. I have no idea how long this meeting is, but it's got to be at least an hour, so I'm going to be stuck in this meeting now. I have no clue why. It's last minute, I can't plan for it, but here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and continue listening to this meeting. It's on my ear right now, and bank an $83 win, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. So I sat in the car for an hour waiting for this stupid meeting to be over, and in the end had to say nothing and had no input. Was asked my input, but then was cut off, and then the meeting ended, so that was great. And then I had a manager later on send me a message. He had asked me something a couple days ago about why something was configured the way that it was, and I explained why. And now he says, well, I want this guy to reconfigure it a different way, and don't change anything without letting anyone know. Okay, that's fine. You want to be like that? Be like that. I don't have any problem with that, but a little bit, not nice the way you're putting things, but you want to be like that? I'm here for the money. I'm not here for you being nice. So, yeah, so that's what's going on there. And now I'm going the wrong way in the parking garage. Okay, so I go into this casino, and I look at slots first, and I find one play. It took 30 spins, and I profited 29 cents off that, so okay, that's that. And then I went and looked at blackjack, and most of the tables were still closed. I did finally find a table. I bought in for 500, and the first deck and a half of the first shoe, the dealer got 5 or 6 blackjacks. I moved to another table because I had a running minus 19 very quickly, and that one, the dealer got 6 blackjacks in the first deck and a half, maybe 2 decks. Took a little bit longer. And then that was a big negative also. Now, these aren't always, the second one I did play a full shoe before that happened, and then so I moved to a third table, and the guy was on break, the break runner was there, sat down there, started off a little better, and then she went on a run of blackjacks, and I went on a run of 11s doubling down to 12s, so that was exciting. So all in all, I ended involved for $3,000, and I was actually involved for $2,000. When I ran out of money, I rebought for $1,000 because I had higher counts, and I started betting the bigger amounts: 200, 300, 400, eventually 500, and ended up having a nice run between there and the end of that shoe. I went from, what's going on here? I went from being down, I went from being down 2,000 to being up 700 by the end of that shoe. And so I ended up getting up at that point, and that totally shocked the pit boss, because I was rebuying, and then all of a sudden I got all my money back and it was up. So that was okay. And then I went and played a couple other slots and finished my session on the slots ahead $13. So plus 13 on the slots, plus 700 on the blackjack. I'm a little upset with work right now, but I'm trying to be cool about it. My other manager, the director, had asked me to check on something. I gave that info out. I got a reply, "Are you sure?" I sent the proof out. I got a reply 2 days later saying, "Can you double check?" So I sent screenshots of everything. So it's like, what's going on here? You guys not trusting me? Is someone bad-mouthing me, or what's going on? So we'll see about that. Right now, I'm moving on to another casino and see if we can duplicate what we did here. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. So I go into this next place, and let me just say, I'm still pretty upset about this thing with work. Yeah, it's still on my mind. I hate it. I hate all the politics that goes on. All the people go to lunch together, they hang out together, so then they're always right about everything. That's fine. I'm there to make money. I'll do what I need to do to make money. So anyway, I go into this next casino, look at slots first. I find nothing. Look at blackjack. Really nothing there. There's a free bet. There's a couple crappy tables. So I end up walking around for a little while, and then finally I was able to find a table to sit at. New pit boss that I'd never seen before. Real dressed up guy, younger guy. So the only thing I can think of is he's going to be nothing but trouble, because he doesn't know me. He's going to be suspicious and go through all the stuff the other guys went through before I broke him in over the years that they've known me. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I sit down, buy in for 500, start playing. Pretty decent table. Everything's going okay. And I really wasn't there that long. I ended up finishing a shoe ahead $650, and I ended up taking a walk. Actually, that worked out really well. I wasn't there very long. I wasn't suspicious. I wasn't spreading too big because the counts weren't too high. I got my goal and I got out of there. And that's a pretty good way to start with a new guy. Let him see me for a few times before I'm doing some crazy stuff. So went back to slots and still nothing. And so I ended up leaving. So back in the car right now, heading off to the next casino. And at this one, it's going to be mainly slots, but maybe we'll do something crazy. We'll see. And yeah, right now it's 59 degrees outside. It's Friday afternoon, and the wife and kids were asking if I was going to be there for the last home game for our football team, for our high school team. And I said, absolutely, maybe. And it's looking more likely, because it's not until pretty late. But things are going pretty well right now. So far so good. Let's keep the ball rolling, keep making money. Going to move on to the next place, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, real quick here. I've gotten a lot of questions lately about cashing out, and people asking me, how much should I cash out? What's the limit? How often should I go back to the cashier? How many times in a day is too many? All these different questions. And I've addressed this before, and I continually address it in the podcast, but it's in bits and pieces. So let's talk about it right now. So the one thing you want to do is you want to communicate with people that are also doing what you're doing, mainly counting cards, sometimes hole carding, sometimes other carnival game stuff, but usually counting cards. And you want to ask them about their experience in that casino. It's good to have a good network. If you don't have a good network, and it's something that I can help you with, I'm happy to help you. But one of the first things you want to know is how tolerant they are with cashing out. So, many tiers here. Number one, is it an Indian casino? First question to ask yourself. In the United States, if it's a Native American or Indian casino, then you got to be really, really careful, and you don't want to cash out a lot at one time. You don't want to keep going back. they will hold your chips. They will never give them back to you. You'll have to sue them. The chief is probably the judge, and he may or may not give you your money back. It's going to be a big mess. One thing I would tell you is I wouldn't play with much more than like $500 chips at the most, and really for me it would be more like $100 chips, and I would not color up to anything bigger than 500. Now, however, there are some places, there's a place in Mokali, I believe it's called, in Florida. I had one $500 chip. It was a big issue, and I did end up giving my ID because I wasn't going to get it cashed. It turns out they're part of Hard Rock, which I don't have any issues with, but you got to be really careful with Indian casinos. Generally, $500 chips are okay unless it's some tiny casino, and if it's a tiny place, then they may or may not contribute to OSN or Biometrica, and that's a big deal too, because who cares if they have your ID? If they're a standalone tiny casino and they're not going to report you to anybody, do whatever you want, as long as you get paid, that's fine. Now, assuming that you got that out of the way and you're keeping your chips amounts low, how often should you go to the cashier? What's the limit? How much money? Well, you need to talk to people again and find out. If you don't know, you may have to push it a little bit at a time, but hopefully someone can help you out. Generally, it's $3,000 or more, although some cashiers will ask you exactly at $3,000, so I'll do like $2,800 or $2,700. The casino I just left is $3,000. They'll ask you at $3,000 exactly. However, there's a guy there who will ask you sometimes at $2,600. So if you want to be careful, maybe do less than that. So get all that information. It's very useful. Some places it's $2,000. So you just have to watch that. How often should you go to the cashier? Well, I would say one time, and otherwise make yourself different. If you're average size, weight, height, all that kind of stuff, and you want to put on a hat, different shirt, whatever, you can go to the same cashier. I prefer not to do that. I prefer to wait until the cashier goes on break, or I will wait until there's no line at all, and I will stand down at the other end away from the cashier that got me last time, and I will cash out with someone there. I'll just walk right up to the window and just put it right on the table, and hopefully there's no problem there. So I've only had a problem with that maybe one time, and I got out of it. Another thing you can do is you can say, I've got my ID in the car, let me go grab it. Well, if they push you, they might say, well, what's your name? Then you can make a decision. You're either going to give them a fake name and a fake birth date, or you're going to say, I don't want to give it to you, which is what I usually do. I don't like giving a bunch of fake ones, and then you end up going to the same place. It doesn't match. It's a big mess. So what I'll do is I'll say, I left it in the car, and if they push me, I'll say, look, it's not over $10,000. Please just cash it. And that's it. And I'll even say something like, I'm flying out of town today. I just want to get my money and get out of here. Something like that. But your best bet, of course, is to not cash out too much. It's to keep under their limits, be nice, come back on a different shift, wait till your cashier goes on break, whatever it might be, or even have someone cash it for you, sell it to other advantage players. Those are all possibilities. One thing you want to watch out for is if it's in the middle of nowhere and you may not be able to come back for a year or two, and you want to keep the chips and you don't know anybody there, you got to be careful. Some of these small time places get bought by someone else, and then they put out a notice, hey, in 6 months we're going to change the chips, and then you're not around for it and it becomes a big hassle. So all that stuff is important. So that's really about it. One thing I do sometimes is, I'll have $500 chips or lower, and there'll be no line at all, and I'll wait in the higher tier line because there's no line at all. I'll just stand there like I belong there, and they're not going to ask me for the card because there's no one else in line, so I'm not cutting in front of anyone, so they're not going to ask me for the card. If they do, I'll just say, oh, I didn't realize that. But if they fall for that one, then they're not going to give you a hard time. They're going to think that you're a regular. That's really it. If they have a poker room, and try to cash out some at the poker room. Keep in mind the limits in the poker room. If it's all 1-2 tables, don't come over there with $4,000 in chips. I try to cash out 2 or less $500 chips in the poker room if possible. If they have multiple cashiers, I would split it up between the different cages. Maybe take a break in between, go to the bathroom, walk around for a second, whatever it might be, go to the other cage, and hopefully you're cool. One thing to watch out for, and I learned this the hard way, a lot of the times the 2 cashier cages are back to back. The high limit and the low limit are back to back. That way they can share personnel. If you're cashing out $2,000 in each of them and their limit is $3,000, you might get the same supervisor who's going to do a double, and then they're going to say, hey, didn't I just give you some money over there? So watch out for that. That's it right now. I'm going to continue on to my next stop, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. So just heading out of the next casino, and really didn't have a lot of luck. Not a lot of good things happening there. I found a couple really big plays there, and they just went to nothing, to dust. And I was down as much as, a lot, like 1800. I was down 800 on one, and back and forth and back and forth. Had a couple big hits on the way out, and still ended up just barely down. But I was in there way too long, like an hour and a half. I shouldn't have stayed that long. I should have been happy being down just a couple $100 and gotten out of there. But I pushed the issue. I kept looking, and I found a couple mediocre plays. It ended up paying off in the end, but I shouldn't have done it that way. And now I've got to skip the next casino because of it. So because of all that, I ended the session down $39. And saw some total degenerate people. I had a feeling that I should have skipped this place today. Just the way I was feeling today. But you know what? We had a good week. I have no idea how we did this week, but I know it was a good week. We really didn't have any. Did we have any bad losing sessions at all? Looking at today, no. Looking at October 23rd yesterday, no. In fact, yesterday was a perfect day. Day before, all positives, but not a lot of money. And day before that was just a little bit of money because I was home. So let me see. And then going back to Sunday is going to be on my computer at home, so I'm not going to be able to see that. But overall, I know we made the goal for the week, but still not feeling great. Still need to work all these personal issues out. I'm going to. I'm not worried about it. And this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and book my Vegas trip. It looks like it's going to be for November 17th. And if I need to use sick time, I'll use sick time. Right now, I'm just not very happy with work either. I feel like really raising the stakes and taking a shot, maybe at like 5% risk of ruin, but I know I shouldn't do that. I know I should do the right thing. So for now, I'm going to let you go. I'll be back.